Hi. So, did you know that the way your cells regenerate, kill off the dead or unproductive or rogue cells and build new ones, that you essentially have a brand new body about every 7 years? That just blows my mind. It always has. But the way I was thinking the other day of something else, and this came to mind, blew my mind even more. So, every, like, your body's always adapting and going through, changing, going through building new things. And that's pretty exciting to think about having a new body in 7 years, especially like I'm right there at 54. And so to think about, when you think about like what you can't do, the aches, the pains that you have, how maybe it's harder to get down on the floor or up off the floor again, steps may be harder, it may be, you may feel it in different places when you climb stairs or when you get out of bed. I know for a long time I just felt like about the same as if I drank a whole bunch of wine the night before, but I hadn't. And so I'd get up and I'd like, oh, and you just feel it everywhere. And you would sit up and everything would be stiff, but it'd be more than that. It's like on the inside, and it's all the inflammation. And so we could be feeling those things and feel discouraged, like, oh my gosh, like, what's it gonna be like by the time I get 80 if I feel like this now? But when you think about that, you could have a brand new body when, in 7 years. So for me, when I'm 61, every cell in my body will be a new one compared to now. And when we think about the opportunities that we have, it can really change the way we think about things and how we feel about the choices that we're making every day for our health. It doesn't feel so discouraging. It doesn't feel like, excuse me, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm just on the downhill ride from here. It feels like I have an opportunity to actually make a difference. I have an opportunity to vote every day for what's going to go on and what will be in place in 7 years. And so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit today. Um, so, have you ever built a new house? Like hired a contractor, got the loan to build a house. When you do that, you're very excited about all the little decisions. I have never done it myself, but I've had friends, family, and I've been in on the process a little bit. From everything from picking out cabinets to flooring, what color should I paint the outside? Because it's something that you may have a vision in your head for what, like the vibe you want your house, like the functionability of your house, how many kids you have, or if you live alone or with your husband. All those things matter in each little decision that you make for your house, whether it's lighting or, like I said, the flooring. Paint is a big one for me because it's got to be very washable with the kids that I still have at home and grandkids that will be, coming in and out. So it really matters. So you don't just like, no big deal. And you do not feel resentful about making those decisions. You know they're important, and you know that like it's exciting, it's fun. So like you don't dread it. And so I was thinking about this the other day because I heard someone say, and it's very, very common. This wasn't the first time I'd heard it, but I heard someone say on a podcast that exercise had always been about punishment for her. So when she got up to go to the gym. It had the feeling or the vibe of punishing her body for being too big. And this person actually isn't even what I would consider a large person. But if you, and she's younger, but I was thinking like the culture that I grew up in was very much smaller, 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 smaller. If you weren't teeny tiny, if you bent over and you saw any kind of roll, anything but flat, even in movement, you were too large. And I think, if you grew up in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s, you probably had that mindset too. So we're always wanting our bodies to be smaller. And that was the only framework that I had for my body, was that it just needed to be smaller. How could I love my body when does not look like I wanted it to look? And so that is a really hard one to get over. And exercise is a lot less efficient when we do it like that, for that reason, as punishment. And it's also harder to keep up with a routine because no one likes that feeling. No one likes the feeling of like, gotta do this, gotta like make this happen. No one likes to work with an uncooperative person. And if we view our bodies as something that's not cooperating with us and that we've got to force into submission, then it's harder to stick with. Like, who wants to go and do that all the time? So, thinking of that and the idea of the cell regeneration and the new body, and I got to thinking about the house and building a house, and it just made a reframe in my head that I thought everyone could use. So, like, it's the perfect switch. So when you are thinking about the functionality of your exercise routine, or what exercises you want to do, whether you want to do cardio, whether you want to do weights, whether you want to do something kind of in between, HIIT, whatever you decide, walking, whatever you decide, or whatever you're thinking about deciding, put it in this framework of that you're building a new house for yourself, because essentially that's what you're doing. And make those decisions from that place. So it can come more from excitement and you'll feel more, motivation. But at the same time, think of all your decisions that way. So just because you might like some fancy chandelier or something, you might not pick that if you were making a house because of the functionality. So you might find something that you like just as well that is aesthetically pleasing to you and fits like the vibe of your house. Like what, I say that, I have a teenager, so everything's about aesthetic. But the way that you want your house to feel. So in other words, if you were building a ranch style house, you're not going to be putting the same fixtures, cabinets, and things in it as you would if you were building a two-story Victorian style place. And if you're putting your house out, in the middle of the country on a 100-acre farm, you're probably what your fixtures and everything will dictate will not be the same as if you're in the middle of a city and have no space. So think, like I'm always talking about, your goals and your end goals, what you want, like clear till the last decade of your life. But in this scenario, let's think like, what are your goals for your body? So if you wanted to enter a bodybuilding competition, you would do a lot. You would eat different, you would move different, and your exercises would be a lot different than if you want to build the kind of body where you don't have pain getting up and down off the floor. You don't have, you can climb a lot of steps. You can go to an amusement park all day without feeling it in your back and being worn out, like those kinds of things. So what you want out of your body, we can go ahead and think what we're discouraged about now. Like, what are the things that we want to do or think we should be able to do that we can't? And then we can go from there. I don't think it's a good thing to be in a place of, I can't do this, I can't do this. I hear this all the time too. I will write up a program for someone and they'll start to go through it. Oh yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, let's see what you can do. And do you know, it's amazing that a lot of times the things that I've programmed for them that they say they can't do, they try it and they're like, oh, I can do this. And if not, we can modify it, but or change the movement so that they can build up what they can't do. But you can think about what you can't do in a way to realize what you would like to be able to do. And that's a good place to be at. And then think about, what you do want to be able to do, and celebrate what we can do, because our bodies are amazing. Even if you are feeling like you're in totally bad shape, like you are really getting old and you can't like you're really down on yourself for what you can't do, think about what you can. Like, just the fact that your heart beats 24/7 without you even thinking about it, that's pretty amazing. It never misses. It never takes a break. That's crazy. It keeps you alive. It's something we really take for granted because we do not have to think about it. Think about, the fact that your whole cardiovascular system, so in how it's tied to your nervous system, whether the signals you're getting around you and your nervous system depends on whether your muscle actually moves or not to pick up a pencil off the table. So it's crazy what our bodies do for us and what they can do. And I'm just in awe of that all the time. And if we come to it from that place and then start thinking like, what do I want? What do I want? Don't even think about the exercise routine at first. What do I want my life to look like? How do I want my body to be able to move? And what does it need to do to serve me? So start thinking of those things, and start thinking, what do I need to do to get there? And then I'm going to have another like little session workshop thing where we're going to actually get into that and talk about more about. For right now, let's just dream. Let's just dream of what we would like to do, like what we would like to be doing now that our bodies won't let us do. And then we're going to work with our bodies, and what will we want? Like, where do we want to be in a year? In 10 years, or like whatever you imagine the last decade of your life will be. So hopefully in your 90s, I'm not talking about like what would you like to be in independent living, or would you like to be in a nursing facility, and what kind of nursing facility? No, I'm talking about if you could be independent, if you could be in your home, walking around, fixing your meals, getting up, showering all by yourself, what would that mean to you? And what are the kinds of things like that, like showering, taking care of yourself? Like maybe you would like to be in your 90s and still being able to cook for your whole family. Like what would that mean to you, and what are the things that you would like to be doing? Like dream with no, if you could choose it and there was nothing else, what would it be? So let's like dream about that, and then later we're going to talk about the actual design of our new house. So we'll see you later. Get out that pen and paper. Don't just do it in your head. Get out that pen and paper and actually dream. Like, what is it that your body needs to do for you to live like your most fantastic life?